Good morning, good morning, good morning. Happy Friday to everyone. And if you can hear the banging in the background, that would be Julie and Sydney Nudelberg wishing everybody a great Friday. Here we are, Nudelberg Daily Huddle. Excited to end the week with you guys. I think as everybody probably knows, the eldest Nudelberg, Senior Nudelberg, Steve, Jake, and my son Kai are getting ready to board the boat and head on their Father's Day weekend cruise, which has become a tradition for them. And Shay, you got any plans for Father's Day this weekend?
Not a bit.
Nothing.
Just tan. Just got to get my tan on.
Is your ideal Father's Day like not being a father, like baby away alone time, or is it like family, let's do a bunch of stuff together?
Anytime Shay can find something to do nothing, that's a good
we're gonna get up, we're gonna do, it's Sunday, so it's church for us. I gotta go to church in the morning, gotta start the day the right way. And then I think we're gonna do some brunch over at Dune on the beach and sit outside, and then just have a nice relaxing rest of the day. We'll have Jules with us. It'll be an awesome day. But today is a Friday, which means on the Nudelberg Daily Huddle that it is a Huddler in the hot seat, except we have to throw an S on the end of Huddler because we've got Huddlers in the hot seat today. We've got Jacqueline, we've got Cara, we've got Janene, we've got the Systel sisters.
Or Janene.
Or Janene, depending on what graphic you saw from the past couple days. But excited. They've been a client of ours for over a year now. We've done a ton of great work with them. They're based out of Fayetteville, North Carolina. So excited to bring them on. Excited to talk about being an entrepreneur, growing up in an entrepreneurial family, how they've continued to grow in the office solutions business. So great conversations coming for you this morning. I'm sure Melissa and Michelle will enjoy it because they are part of the Systel crew as well. So Shay, let's get some wake up music. Let's get some walk up music, and then let's introduce the girls to the show.
Let's do it.
Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up. Come on, come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in bed. No more about to thinking, time of thinking ahead. Come on.
Everyone can see we're together as we walk on by, and we fly just like birds of a feather. I won't tell no lie. All of the people around us, they say, can they be that close? Just let me state for the record, we're giving love in a family dose. We are family. Hey, I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, and sing.
Boom! Welcome, ladies, to the Huddler in the hot seat, to the Nudelberg Daily Huddle. Thank you for joining us this morning.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks
Are
for
you guys-
having us.
Are you guys so excited to be up bright and early in the office, sharing some time on the Nudelberg Daily Huddle?
Yes, and we're glad Jacqueline's on time. We were worried about her there for a second.
I'll be there. Just let me make it the minute before, but it's not lost on us that you have us on Father's Day weekend, so we appreciate that.
Yeah, no doubt. It ends up working out really, really great. I'm sure that you guys have a ton of things planned for the fathers in your families this weekend. And I know you guys really well. I know how much you guys have going on. So being on the show all together, the three of you, is very cool and very special. We've got some great people in the audience already. I don't know if you saw Phil Boatman is here, which Phil is actually the conduit for us being able to work together and have met each other. And then you've got Melissa and Michelle, obviously, from your guys' crew here. And we've got all the huddlers here this morning. So excited for you guys to be able to share with us who you guys are, where you guys come from, and what you do. But I want to give a little context. So my dad got introduced to you through Phil Boatman, right? Did a little bit of sales training in the beginning. And as the coaching went on, there was a need. There was a different need. The need kind of shifted and the ask happened. And that's when I got introduced into this equation. And now it's been, I think, almost a year, maybe over a year. I think we're pretty close to a year.
We're pretty close. We're pretty close.
I made the trip up to Fayetteville. We spent a great day together. Learned a ton about what you guys were doing and how you guys were doing it. And we built some great stuff. We built some core values. We built some structure. We built some, organizational plans that we've been working on together. And I would just like, before you guys talk about who you are, what's the experience been like working with us, starting with my dad, working with me, and having this long tenure together so far?
I think I have personally grown so much from it, just because growing up kind of with my dad, there was no real training, I guess, as far as how to run a business or operate in a business. It was kind of like just trial by fire, jump in, learn what you can, roll your sleeves up, get involved in every aspect of the business and learn everything. So nobody ever kind of showed us, okay, here's how you run a meeting. Let's get an agenda. Here's how you set goals, and here's how you hold everybody accountable to those goals. So it's just been really nice, having somebody who can kind of show us how the best practices and the best way to run meetings and do our one-on-ones and have weekly check-ins with our departments. And so that part's been really great for me. And, even the sales training, I learned a lot about, I don't post as much on LinkedIn, but just getting that visibility out there on LinkedIn. I've had a couple opportunities even come up from some of the posts that I've done on there. So even that aspect for me has been really great.
That's awesome. Cara, Jacqueline, you guys have anything you want to chime in with? Because that may have been the greatest testimonial I've ever gotten in my entire career. So we're going to clip that and save that and share that everywhere possible.
I didn't top that, Mark. That's why we let her go first. But I think that we enjoy working with you because we're in similar situations, being second generation business owners, and you can kind of relate how we're sort of taking what somebody created and making it, honoring their values, but also kind of updating it and making it our own. So, and it's funny that you mentioned your visit to Fayetteville, because another reason we enjoy working with you is our first time we met you, you took us to dinner and we ordered a bunch of expensive wine, and then you picked up the tab, and I felt really bad about that. So.
That was a trick. That was a trick learned long ago, right? Always pick up the tab. Always be the one to sneak to the waiter or the waitress, get the credit card to them early, so that there's no fighting over it at the table, or you could get it done. It's awesome.
So that's why we keep working with you, because we feel so bad that you picked up the tab.
You're still working off the debt from that dinner. I love it. That's awesome. Cara, you have anything?
Yeah, the thing I've learned the most is kind of just my time management, how to be a leader, manage my time, manage other people. And I tell my whole family about it when I get home, and my husband's like, "Don't Nudelberg me." So I'm adopting it. So I've kind of learned to just time manage, pick what I need to tackle, what I need to delegate. And just become a better manager and be available for people more. So I've learned a lot from it.
So that's a great introduction, I think, to give people a taste of who you guys are. So let's go back to the beginning, talk about, your father building this business, you guys growing up, what it was like growing up in an entrepreneurial family, and just kind of give us the start of how you guys came up.
So my dad started the company in 1981, which was the year I was born. So I was just a baby, and he started the company. My parents were divorced shortly thereafter, so we kind of grew up living with my mom, visiting my dad on the weekends. So we didn't really know, I would say, a lot about the business other than just running around on the weekends grabbing candy off people's desk at the office. But then as we got into high school, we would start working during the summer. So we would be filing documents in the vault over the summer, or I worked in customer service for a summer and accounts payable. So just getting different kind of tastes of the business. But I never really understood it, I guess, or never really said, okay, this is definitely what I'm going to do. But once I went off to college, my dad said when I was graduating, okay, what are you going to do if you go into accounting or legal? You can never go wrong. If one day you want to go into business, those are always two areas. So I ended up going to law school and worked for a firm back here in Fayetteville. And my dad and I was always talk about how much legal stuff he had going on at the company, whether it be contracts or leases or agreements. He always had something that he had a need for legal work. So I didn't know at the time, but he was slowly recruiting me kind of to come back over. But meanwhile, he was also recruiting Cara and Jacqueline at the same time. You know, he was in their ear too about the company. And
So
that,
is it safe to say that there was no initial pressure for you guys to be in the business? He wanted you to go do whatever it is that you wanted to do, chase your passions?
yes, I think that was important for him that we go out and kind of have real jobs for a couple of years just to kind of see what it's like before we came back into the business. But that was never a stated plan or anything. That was just kind of, okay, you guys go do your thing. But then in the interim, he was just, you know, in our ears about, oh, I could really use this expertise at the business. And
Great recruiting tools, right?
yeah.
Like unbelievable job recruiting.
Yeah.
So was it all? So did all of you guys come back to the business at the same time, or did everybody kind of make their way in at different phases?
I think his plan kind of all came together at the same time. We were within like a month of each other coming. I can't remember. Was Jacqueline the first one?
Jacqueline was first, and then I think it was me, then you.
All within like a month, I think, of each other. And so
And what's the age difference between you guys?
Well,
Not like
Jacqueline's
you have to tell me
dying.
the actual ages, just the years in between.
Don't ask that,
I
Mark.
get the
knows.
question.
Me
I
and
get it.
Jacqueline are twins, and then Janene is 2 years older than us.
Unbelievable. So you guys ended up all coming back into the business at, you know, was that a joint decision sort of? Were you guys talking about it together, or each of you individually were kind of like, you know what? It's the right thing to do. It's the right time.
Well, our dad is a good salesman, so I guess that he was like Janene mentioned, working behind the scenes, and we didn't really realize it. So we didn't coordinate with each other. We all just kind of made our plans, and it worked out well. But even way before that, you know, having an entrepreneurial father, I mean, we were here every summer when we were younger. I mean, our friends were at the pool, we were in the file vault filing. So I guess his plan started really early and we didn't realize it. So we now are coming on 15 years. So he got us here, but I think it's us working together that's kept us here.
So let's talk about that transition a little bit, because now you guys have really moved into the leadership of the organization. How has it been coming in when you guys did a few months apart? Obviously having some kind of background and knowledge about the business, having grown up with it, but then really growing within it to a point where now you guys are responsible for the future. You guys are responsible for the iteration and the continuation of the business. What has that transition been like?
It was definitely a learning lesson for all of us. When we first came back, we were all learning our roles, learning where we all fit in within the business, how to communicate with my dad, how to communicate with each other. It took a few years. Now we kind of joke that we're a well-oiled machine and that we just kind of know, what each other's thinking and how to work as a good executive team. But I mean, it took a while. It took a while, but I think right now it's good. It's been a learning lesson.
I think it worked out well because we all have our different areas of expertise, and so we kind of all just kind of gravitated to different areas of the business and help balance each other out that way.
Janene, you have anything?
Yeah, I think like they were mentioning, it's hard to kind of navigate that communication, especially when you're dealing with work and personal, and that's, something we've had a lot of things over the years that we've had to really learn how to communicate. And, if we disagree on something, how are we going to come to a decision? And so now we're at the point where we can work through those things fairly easily, but it took a lot of working through the hard things to really come to that.
It's funny because our in-person huddle on Wednesday, we got asked a question about that. Like, how did you overcome some of that? Because I think it's one of the most difficult things to do in a family business is to figure out, how do I not talk to you like my sister right now? Or how do I not allow my father to talk to me like he's my father? How do I get him to speak to me like it's a CEO and president? So can you speak into that a little bit? What are some of the keys to success for you guys right now in managing family communication inside of a business?
Well, I think for the three of us, it's a little bit easier than our communications with our dad. It's a totally different, I guess, animal that we're kind of, with the three of us, I think just active kind of listening and not making assumptions as to, why somebody's doing something, but really just kind of understand where they're coming from and hearing them out and working through the solution, hashing out the pros and cons. And then they can probably add more to that. But when dealing with my dad, we found out that we really have to stick together as a team, and we kind of have to be that solid block, and dealing and communicating with him, and because he'll say, I want to do it this way, and we'll say, well, here's an idea, or here's an idea, and sometimes he's open to the feedback, and sometimes he's not, but I think Jacqueline does a really good job of translating into my dad's language. So she's kind of always, here's the plan, and we'll let Jacqueline kind of translate it to him.
Yeah.
They just send me into the lion's den a line at a time. And I think we also I think what really helped is when we figured out how each other makes decisions. Like, we know that Janene needs all the information in front of her and she can make a quick decision. I need to talk through it, pros and cons. And so once we figured that out, then it really became easy to work together. Before, we were just kind of figuring out how we weren't making decisions quickly and why we weren't jiving on some things. And once we learned that, then it became much simpler and we work around each other's needs. So.
Makes me so happy to hear you say that. I think that's I think unanimously across the board, working with leaders, the things that most leaders don't understand up front is that it's not about how you communicate, it's about how everybody else communicates. And if you can understand how the people around you communicate, then you can give yourself so much more room and so much more likelihood of success, because you're not trying to get everybody to conform to you, but you understand and you're able to try to maneuver to work with them. That's really awesome. So I want to get a little bit more nitty gritty here and talk about, like, your dad was very successful, built a very successful business. You guys take over an organization that have employees that have been there for a long time and have loyalty and have ties to your father. It's a difficult atmosphere to navigate, stepping into his shoes, having a little bit of a different direction. You're not going to do everything the exact same. You can't do everything the exact same. Times continue to change, and the way you do things have to change. So how has it been stepping into that role and really having to navigate the change of continuing the legacy, but also changing the legacy?
I think we just had to build on what was working, and we quickly noticed maybe what was not working, and it was the tenured employees that really mentored us. So we were they were supporting us, just as much, if not more, than he was in these roles, and so we really had to lean on their expertise and guidance during the whole process, really. So it really. We have a lot of tenured employees, and some, which are on here, and still very much, have a great relationship with our dad and us. They saw us running around here when we were little. So we've kind of had to also figure out how they make decisions and work together as a team as well. So.
Yeah, I think it was hard. It was a little bit hard at first just because everybody would say, well, Mr. Allison, this, or this is how, we've always done it, or Mr. Allison, probably needs to approve this, and things like that. And so it just took some kind of getting used to, and, I think we tried to navigate that, playing to, like Jacqueline said, what was working and not changing anything, and just kind of getting in and really listening to the tenured employees and learning, how we were operating as a business, and then, improving the things that weren't working. And as we saw success with that, I think more people started trusting us.
So I want to touch on that, because that, to me, this is the way we've always done it, is the worst reason to ever do anything. So how did you guys manage that change? What's some of the keys that people can learn from, and saying, hey, we understand that this is the way you've always done it, but we're going to change? How'd you guys do that?
I think just earning the trust and, getting the buy-in that this change is going to be a good thing in the end. It's going to give us more productivity, more features. We did a big change of our ERP system, which was a huge project, and everybody was used to the old system. So that was a big change. But in the end, it's been a lot better, and getting our key employees on board, I think was huge.
Excellent. Anything from you guys on that?
Yeah, just kind of being there in the trenches with them, like working hard. We've been here for 15 plus years, and earning the respect, and saying the proof's in the pudding. Like, we were there, and we were, growing and being successful. And, one thing we would suggest, it would work. And so we got a little bit more trust, and just working right beside them, supporting them, being there for them. It's different from the entrepreneurial start of, him, when he was the go-to for everything. We gave them more autonomy. We were empowering them to kind of make decisions, communicate. We're training. We're just being there, supporting them. And I think earning that trust over the time really helped us transition from that first generation to second.
Amazing. I love that answer. Love the answer of giving them more autonomy, and the fact that you drew the parallel from being different than the entrepreneurial start to the scaling of it, right? Like, I think that's where most entrepreneurs struggle, is they're in everything. They think they need to do everything or have final answer on everything. And that's the thing that kills the ability to scale. So the more autonomy, the more leaders you can build around you, the more successful you can be. Jacqueline, is there anything that you wanted to add to that?
No, just that kind of in our position, advocating for change or anything within the business, we had to kind of do it within the business and employees, but then we also kind of had to do it with him as well. So we were kind of in the middle. So by the time we take it to him, it's already been, we've handled every objection. And so by the time, we roll it out, we've thought of everything at that point. So maybe that helped, or maybe that just made an additional obstacle. I don't know, but
I don't know if you can see Melissa's comment. She said, I've grown so much over the past year. I'm so appreciative of the sisters.
When he was really involved in the business, I feel like our positions were really hard.
Fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So a couple questions to close out for you guys. One that I want each of you to answer. As you guys have come up inside of an entrepreneurial family and then taken over the business yourselves and are working towards continuing to grow it and scale it, what's the one thing that you look back on? Could be a character trait, could be a personality trait, could be a habit. that's helped you be successful through all this time? Don't all jump at it.
I guess I'll go first. I'd love to, get up early. I'm an early bird. I love the mornings. I wake up and I kind of have my me time. I work out. Probably way too early for her. Anyway, not too early for you, Mark. But that kind of gets me in a good headspace, and I come to work. I've already had my me time. I'm here to support other people. I love providing a positive attitude environment, like having that environment that supports, creativity, morale is up, just asking people how they're doing. I love creating that environment around us that people want to come to work, because I'm excited to come to work. I'm happy. I'm in a good headspace when I come into work. So I'm trying to create that. And I feel like that's kind of helped me succeed in my department in this area, is just creating that environment, and then also being here to support them. Like, what do you need? And being that good, sound, consistent, positive energy for people.
Fantastic answer. Fantastic answer. Who's going next?
That was good, Cara. I'm not a morning person, but I'm trying to get up earlier and earlier. I would say for me, it's probably persistence. When we're working on a project or doing something, if we get a no, I always am pushing back, like, okay, well, if we can't do that, can we do this? Or, don't stop at no, just always keep pushing until we get to the right answer, and just staying in it for the long haul. And, if we get knocked down, get back up kind of thing. And so I think persistence and just making sure that I'm leaving things in a better place than when I found them is kind of what I've always had, that mentality.
Early riser to put yourself in a positive mindset, persistence to continue to battle through challenges. You've got to close it the right way, Jacqueline. What do you got for me?
Well, I don't do any of those things. But I would say, really besides just, well, first of all, I wish we would have done leadership training way earlier in our careers, from the very beginning. I would recommend that for anybody that's trying to get their kids back in the business.
Nice plug.
Thank you for that.
But besides just making sure, you have relationships, I think within the business is important. That's really kept me passionate to be here. And just my one thing is I'm a fixer. I like to problem solve. So I think that's kind of also helped me just push forward, work hard, and just get things resolved and not leave things hanging out there too long and let it fester. And I think that's maybe what we walked into a little bit when we were here. And so learning how to do that in the right way, we're still working on, but I don't like issues hanging out there. So.
Listen to this checklist. Wake up early, be positive, be persistent, solve problems. I absolutely love it. And relationships. I mean, you said in there the importance of relationships within the business. Those 5 key pillars, if everybody who's listening can take that and apply that to whatever role they're in and whatever they're doing, whatever industry, whatever job, whatever organization, those are unbelievable nuggets for everybody. So we did a great job. You guys absolutely crushed it as Huddlers in the hot seat. Your final question that has to be answered is, who's your favorite Nudelberg?
Shay.
Mark, of course. Team Mark.
I choose Jules. Jules is my favorite. He's been on a couple of Zooms with us.
Thank you guys so much. Thank you for joining us this morning. Thank you for working with us. Thank you for being great friends, great clients. Just awesome stuff. You guys have a fantastic weekend. Everybody in the Nudelberg Huddle, go celebrate the great fathers out there. I know that we all are going to have a great weekend. The grind includes Saturday and Sunday. Let's get down to business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business.